Greetings everyone, my name is Greg. In this video, I am going to talk about what it means to explore a subject. Because in my last video, I had gotten an interesting comment, and I do want to draw everyone's attention to this. This is not to embarrass anybody. This person here had asked a question that I honestly never heard of. Have you ever considered exploring the subject of maltheism? Well, I had never even heard of this, let alone exploring the subject. But I want to draw everyone's attention to the idea of what it means to explore a subject. Exploring a subject does not mean just getting the definition. But when I looked up maltheism, one of the things that pops right up at me is the first thing. Maltheism is an ad hoc coining appearing on Usenet in 1985, referring to the belief in God's malevolence inspired by the thesis of Tim Maroney, that even if God, as described in the Bible, does exist, he's not fit for worship due to his low moral standards. I don't have a problem with this, but what I want to first point out to everybody is when you look this up, what you see is a rational wiki, which is no different than Wikipedia, really. Wiktionary, which is another version of Wikipedia. Then there is this website that is fandom. Well, I'm not really interested in a fandom type of thing, but let's just take a look at that and see what comes up. This can be the idea of what it is, but there is the disclaimer that the views expressed below do not represent this wiki's stance on religion. So this is another Wikipedia, just a different type of Wikipedia. So what we're having is one Wikipedia after another. Then there is a definition. Okay, definition. Religious wiki. Basically a literary type of encyclopedia. Wiki. Dictionary. Reddit. Reddit is also just basically opinion. There is no text to actually explore the subject. Exploring a subject does not mean just getting other people's opinion. When I'm doing research on a subject, if all I'm getting are different people's opinion, it doesn't help me at all, because I don't base my opinion on the opinions of others. I base my opinion on the facts that I find. And what I find is just definition after definition of defining what the idea that is being presented means. And in that means I can do the same just doing this. Maltheism, the belief that there is an evil God or gods. Well, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in any God or gods, but good or evil. But the Bible God, I would definitely say, is maltheistic. But then there is this one that I had come across. I guess it would be pronounced dystheist. One who believes in ditheism is one who believes there is a God, but that this God is not good and possibly, but not necessarily, evil. Well, if it's not good, I would say, what are your other options other than evil? What, neutral? But then there is misotheism, hatred of God or gods. Now, this would be one that atheists could and seemingly be regularly accused of being. But this is the first that I have encountered this term. All three of these terms, I'd never encountered them before. So they're all new to me. But maltheism, I would more wonder what are the difference between this and Satanism. And I'm going to be doing an interview with a theistic Satanist in the very near future, where him and I will talk about what exactly Satan is and what he means by it, and getting into the bigger discussion on the aspect of Satanism and what it means to be a Satanist. It is something that I can explore subjects like Satanism or various religions because there is information out there regarding them that is not just quote unquote opinion based. There is some kind of text that I can examine and determine whether or not I find it credible or not. The truth of the matter is, the Bible is not credible because there's no evidence that the claims that are made within it are actually real. Just because a book claims something does not mean that that claim is valid. Star Trek makes lots of claims. And there are more claims in Star Trek that could seemingly fit our world than any particular religion, but that is more because of people have done things to mirror what is in Star Trek. And they've looked for things like the aspect of warp drive. Is it possible? Or the aspect of like a flip phone. Some of the things like the flip phone were most likely inspired by TV shows like Star Trek and their communicator. That is not a case of reality verifying art type of thing. It is more of art influencing reality. That people saw this depicted on Star Trek and looked for ways to mirror that in our world, in the things that we use on a daily basis, or I've had a flip phone. I don't anymore. I basically graduated beyond that, but my first cell phone was a flip phone. But the thing is, without a text or something to examine, there is no way for me to explore a subject. There has to be something for me to explore, other than a term that I was unfamiliar with. Now, if there would be any people that identify and call themselves like a maltheist or a dystheist or whatnot, I would be very interested in having a conversation or interview with them that I would have on a video or podcast, just because it would be something I would want to differentiate. How is this different from a dislike of religion, or how is this different from Satanism? But without something basically to examine, how do I examine a subject? Is what I'm getting at. And if I think it's suspect if the idea of examining a subject means looking at one wiki page after another. That's I understand what it is from the definition. Why do I need a wiki page of people doing a more long-winded version of the base definition? Okay, fine. It is the idea that there is an evil or whatnot God. I see no more evidence of that than I do any God, which is none. But going by the Bible and the things that are within that, yes, that God would definitely be maltheistic. I don't see how any other conclusion could be reached. But the fact that the term maltheism didn't really exist until 1985 makes it suspect in my view, because that means I'm older than this idea is. And that's not to say that just because an idea is relatively new that it doesn't have any validity. It doesn't have any validity because there's no evidence that any god or gods exist. Just going by the Bible, yeah, I could say that that god figure is evil, but there's no reason to believe it exists. But this is something that it brought this to my attention, and it is something that I will be talking about, like in my interview with Tom Blackwood on Satanism and theistic Satanism more specifically, and seeing if these terms would actually fit within what he believes, or if not, really defining what it is he believes and going from there. This was something I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to, the aspect of there is a clear and big difference between becoming aware of the definition of a word and exploring a subject. In order to explore a subject, there needs to be something to explore. And if all there is basically people's opinion on things, well, then to me there's not really much to explore. Because I have my opinion regarding the God of the Bible without having another term to toss around about it. But I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. Later, people.